You didn't fall because she rejected you. You fell long before, when you forgot who you were. Most men today are not being defeated by women. They're being defeated by themselves, from the inside, slowly, silently, like a building that looks solid on the outside, but whose foundations have already begun to rot. Nietzsche didn't write to comfort. He wrote to wound, not out of cruelty, but because pain is often the only doorway to transformation. And if you're a man who lives to please, a man who shapes every word, every gesture, every decision with the fear of losing attention, affection, or desire from a woman, then this video is for you. Because, according to Nietzsche, what enslaves you is not the woman. It's your need to be accepted by her at any cost. The weakness of the modern man isn't physical, it lies in his numbed soul, in his inability to exist without being validated, in his constant performance to be chosen, in his transformation from man to mascot. You see it when you accept disrespect disguised as freedom, when you celebrate your own submission as emotional maturity, when you think it's noble to say, "I'd do anything for her," even when anything means erasing yourself. Nietzsche wouldn't talk about romance. He would talk about the will to power, not in the sense of brutal domination, but in the sense of existential affirmation. You are not strong because a woman loves you. You are strong when you don't need to be loved in order to remain yourself. But today, how many men do you know who can resist that? How many stay standing when they're ignored? How many stay on their path even when affection disappears? How many can endure absence without collapsing? Most break, they beg, they spiral, as if the absence of a woman was the death of their worth. And that, Nietzsche would call weakness. Not because he hated women, but because anything that pulls you away from yourself is slavery. The man who shapes himself to please a woman is not in love. He is desperate. He doesn't love, he worships. He doesn't connect, he kneels. And kneeling, constantly, is not love. It is emotional suicide. Nietzsche once said that what we do repeatedly becomes who we are. And if you keep repeating self-denial, silence, and self-erasure, you're no longer yourself. You've become a shadow of her desire. You stopped living to be, and started existing only to be wanted. But here comes the hardest truth. She doesn't love you like this. Because no one respects a slave, not even the one who says they love him.
When you give yourself without resistance,
Without limits, without essence, you become a mirror. You only reflect what the other wants to see. And the problem with mirrors is, no one falls in love with them. They look, they use, then they move on. Nietzsche believed love could only exist between two whole beings, not from a wounded man, needy and bent over with longing, but from a man who is full, who chooses, and doesn't beg. But maybe you were taught something different. Maybe they told you that being a good man means being endlessly available, always open, always understanding, always present, even when you're being made invisible. But Nietzsche didn't want good men. He wanted free men. Men who don't ask for permission to exist. Men who don't explain themselves just to be loved. Men who don't cry over absences that never deserved their presence. Freedom, for Nietzsche, wasn't arrogance. It was not depending on anyone to continue existing with dignity. And when love does appear, and it will, you won't disappear inside of it. You'll recognize yourself through the connection. The weak man dissolves. The strong man remains. The pain you feel when you're rejected isn't about her leaving. It's about the void she was filling. But no one was born to complete you. You were born to overflow. And that you forgot. You traded your essence for approval, your mission for attention, your strength for affection, and now you feel a void that won't go away. Nietzsche would say, "This is the price of abandoning your own will to power." But it's not too late. Maybe that rejection you went through was the best thing that ever happened to you, because now, at rock bottom, you can finally see the bottom. And once you see it, you choose. You choose whether you'll keep crawling or whether you'll rise, like someone reborn. You don't need to stop loving. You just need to stop begging. Love with freedom. Choose with awareness. Give with abundance. But never, ever trade your soul for scraps of affection. Because in the end, Nietzsche didn't want you to be loved. He wanted you to be unavoidable, to become something that needs no explanation, something that exists with weight, presence, and purpose. You can keep trying to please, keep hoping to be chosen, or you can make the rarest choice of all, to rebuild yourself completely. Being loved is good, but being free, oh, being free, that's where it all begins. If this touched your soul, comment below, "I choose my freedom." Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this with a man who needs to wake up before it's too late.